Last but not least, some of the biggest culprits are us doctors. Turning up during meal times can make life really awkward for patients and staff.
Let's have a look here, shall we?
We do have problems in that we're doing our ward round quite often at that time. We do try to finish at 12, but we'll often run later.
And the confrontation that you encounter from junior staff up to myself is sometimes quite traumatic.
We have had a few hitches and problems with a couple of consultants who tend to sort of come round and even though you can be assertive and tell them that it's protected meal times, they still insist to go around.
When you try to explain to them it's meal time for the patient, they will turn and say to you, this is the only time that I can make it.
Here's your lunch back. You don't fancy it anymore. Bye-bye.
Matron has some advice.
I kind of put it to them, you know, you would not want your abdomen prodded in the middle of your roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. So I said, you know, why should a patient?
Can't we find other things to do for an hour at midday? Well, come to think of it, one of the advantages of protected meal times is that our bleep should only go off during emergencies. So maybe we can get some lunch too. Some doctors will carry on regardless and will take time to come around to the idea. So you just have to be flexible.
If an anaesthetist needs to see a patient because they're having a general anaesthetic, then actually it's negligent to not allow the anaesthetist onto the ward during protected meal times. So it's about being flexible, it's about being realistic, but it's about putting the patient first.
Teamwork and regular staff meetings are essential if protected meal times are going to work.
And always be focused on what is in the best interest of the patient.
One of the big successes of the Protected Mealtimes initiative is that it's really cemented the relationship between facility staff and clinical staff. It's about recognising that protected mealtimes can only happen if everybody works together as a team.
Matrons and housekeepers are key to checking that 10 minutes before mealtimes the ward is closed off to all medical staff and unnecessary visitors, that it's quiet, clean and uncluttered, and the patients are comfortable. Of course, protected mealtimes do not exclude carers and visitors who are requested by the patient to stay and help them during mealtimes. Now, in this quiet environment, staff can focus 100% on their patients' needs, and their ability to eat properly can be noted. Essential therapists can then assist patients with eating difficulties where necessary.
The hospital, that you can lose a lot of weight, and it's important to monitor it. And by protected mealtimes, when the ward's quiet, you can do this.
Also, if a patient needs to see the doctor urgently, they can be told that another meal will be brought to them later, so they won't worry about missing their lunch.
Sometimes when you had the doctors coming in, they'd go behind the curtains and the patient's meal would be there, but by the time the doctors had left, the patient's meal would be cold.
Help patients to open those awkward little packages, peel fruit and offer them soup in a cup rather than a bowl. In some wards, patients can have their meal in the day room. This gives them a chance to chat and be social. Very important for people recovering from neurological surgery or strokes and being rehabilitated.
And the patients have said that they do actually, you know, instead of sitting in their beds with their dinner on their laps, they actually do like to go to the day room and actually sort of socialise together for that sort of half hour, three-quarters hour of the day. It gives them protected time when they can socialise as a preparation for going home.
It feels like a lot of hard work to start with, but you see real benefits and a lot of patient enjoyment actually as well. It gives you a lot of satisfaction.
Protected mealtimes are not the time for staff to do routine drug rounds, ward rounds, or have their breaks.
I think protected mealtimes is really about changing culture in organisations, and it's about changing cultures around the benefits of patients, and that has to be the right thing for the NHS to strive for.
Sometimes during the day you need to take a break from being prodded and poked, as it were. And protected mealtimes is as good a time as any. You get a chance to eat, not have to worry about being dragged off somewhere, and you get a chance to relax afterwards.
I think any organisation, any hospital in the National Health Service who listens to the views of patients, witnesses what goes on at meal times, will realise that this change needs to come about, that patients need to have the proper time to be able to eat their food, to be supported in eating their food, to get the nutrition that they need, and to ensure that this is good care.
The improved teamwork and communication between kitchen and ward now means that the staff are ready to serve meals immediately the trolleys arrive on the ward. The food is hotter, which the patients like, and there's far less waste. The proof of the pudding is that there have been far fewer complaints about hospital food. Let's recap the main ways to get protected mealtimes up and running. First, carry out an observational audit on your ward to show what changes should be made. Motivate your team to carry them out. Next, get senior management to back you. 10 minutes before mealtime, stop clinical duties and ask non-essential visitors and non-ward staff to leave. Ask the ward clerk to answer the phones. Then, close the doors. During the meal, observe and document what your patients are eating and help them if they have any difficulties.
The simplest form of nutritional support is just to get people to eat more food. And what a better way than to have the nursing staff available on the ward, the right people on the ward, the wrong people off the ward, to enable patients to eat more food. Perfect.